For joining us this afternoon. We are recording this meeting because multiple managers were wanting to join, and then they also wanted their staff to be participating, but they couldn't, so they requested to record this meeting. So I just want you to know. The couple things I wanted to mention before we start the meeting. Many of you participated in the DMA survey, and we thank you for your feedback. And as a result, one of the things that we found that there were requests for budget kind of meeting in that general area. So we are going to be doing 3 sessions from, with the help of Fiscal Affairs Department. And the first one of those trainings is on budget transfer and transfer of charge. And we are going to do 2 more trainings with Cashew is going to be doing sometime either in December or after the holidays. So I don't want to hold. I don't want to hold like some. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. Yes. Okay. So for the first training, we have Ivy Huey. She is District Manager, Fiscal Affairs, and you can ask the questions in the chat, and she'll answer all the questions at the end. And we'll probably have enough time to answer any questions, and any questions that we are not able to answer, we'll follow up and get back to you with the answers. And also, as I said earlier, this meeting is being recorded, so you can listen again if you would like, and if you missed any part. So without any delay, Ivy.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first budget transfer and transfer charge banner training section. Okay, my name is Ivy Hui. I'm the District Manager of Fiscal Affairs. Okay, let's start from the basic banner finance 101. So what is budget transfer and what is the transfer charge? So budget transfer is to move budget from one line to the other within the same fund number. And in banner, the budget journal type will be BDTR. And the transfer charge is to move the actual expenses from the one FOPO to the other FOPO, except the account numbers. When you process the transfer charge, the account number needs to stay the same. And the banner type, the journal type will be TRAN, T-R-A-N. But we're going to talk about this in more details later. So our accounting departments use banner all the time. I believe some of you may use some of the finance module to monitor your budget, such as FGI BDST, Fgi Bubble. However, I believe some of you probably don't use banner at all, but that's okay. So today, I will show you how to use banner and Argos to help you to monitor your budget and also process the budget transfer as needed. Okay, let's start from the Argos report. Okay, let me share the screen with you here. Okay, you can log in argos.noccccd.edu, and then I'm gonna sign in here. And then you will see the screen, Argos, and then I will use Argos web viewer here. Then you can see here's Argos 3X extract click here. And then finance general and under cashew. And here you can see is operating ledger with summary. So this is a Argo report that will be helping you a lot to oversee your budget. And this operating ledger is for the expenses only. See here with the SQL, I don't know, it's Kashuro or IS, they wrote this SQL, and they set account between 000 to 79999, which that means that's for expenses only. So the chart of account is always one. This is for our, our NOCC, the main chart account. And fiscal year, the current year is 23 here. And then for the period, you can select one or more. For example, if you go down here, this will be July, August, September. However, the data will be accumulated. So normally, if you want to see the live, I will just pick 12. That will be year to date. So now today I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you just my Oracle to see how that works here. 1360. Normally, when you monitor your grants or your budget, you can either put a phone number and put org, whatever you want to see. But if I just want to see my org, I can just put here, my org probably has 11,200 fund and probably has some other grant fund included in there because the staff are helping some grants. So now I just want to see the Oracle 1360 here. Then I run the query. So you can tell here, here's the information for you. This is the expenses budget, and this available budget, expenses available budget. And this current real actual expenses here. And the commitments here, you can see this is include the requisition and also purchase orders. Is coming the balance there. And this is the total available balance for me. And the budget year to date. And here is the information you can tell. On the bottom here, you will see this explanation. What's that for? So for original budget is OBD, and then that is the proposed budget. When we wrote the proposed budget in September, or the new money I received during the year, if there's a new grant money coming in, we will enter that. So that will be the original budget. And budget transfer is any time you do the budget transfer, that will show in budget transfer this column here. And total budget, this is current and working budget. And year to date is the actual expenses and actual revenue. But on this screen here, we only show the expenses portion, not the revenue. Okay. And the commitments is a balance of the purchase order and requisitions. Available budget here is the, let me see, is the total budget minus the year to date and minus the commitments. So that is the available budget. And budget year to date it is also useful to is the budget minus the actual year to date amount without the commitment. So here we can extract this out. So you can if you want to just look at how much budget you have, you can look into the top portion. Here's the balance. But if we want to see, I want to do some budget transfers because I can tell here there's some negative in here. So I probably need to move some, budget to cover that negative portion. So I can do here. You can export to CSV format. And I apply all. I don't think you can see. Let me see. So can you see the spreadsheet now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we export this to the Excel format, so you can easily to see the detailed information here. So we can start working on this if we want to do budget transfer to cover whatever the negative amount here. So I'm going to see. Okay. Like year, I don't need this one, or because this I can hide it. I don't really need it, or you can delete it. And then I just need a fund number, the budget number. So the title, I don't need it. This you don't need to, you can just hide it, this information. And so you have a budget, org account, no fund, org account. This is a whole account. I mean, kind of roll up account. So I don't really need a roll up account here. I'm going to hide it here. And then here, program activity code and title, I don't need it, can hide it. So this, you can see here, this is the original budget and the budget transfer. Since I don't have anything here, I don't need that. I'm going to hide it here. And then, so this total budget you can use, and these are expenses you have now, and this is commitment. And then available budget here. Then I know I'm going to enter another role, say I need to do some budget transfer. So I'm going to say I'm going to adjust this area. Okay, so I'm looking at this information here, this line. Then I see here I have a negative, 14,457. Okay, and then I want to bring it up to 0 or positive amount. So I'm going to add this and add more. So I'm going to add 14,457 here. And then I see here's negative 217. I'm going to add 217 here. And here I'm going to add 399 here. There's one thing you need to make sure when you move budget. So these are you're going to add in. So you have to move from somewhere else. And then you only move from line, to the other line. So the total budget should stay the same. So you want to have this, or make sure this will be the same. And here I want to say this is adjusted budget. This will be so if now if you look at here, I just put add, but I didn't really, move from somewhere else. So now I need to make sure I want to move from here, like, because this is trouble here, and then these are trouble expenses, this I think staff retraining. So I'm going to move some money from here to cover this negative. So I'm going to say minus 399 here. And then I will, in here, 217, I go, this is for 44,500. So I'm going to move from, because this is the COVID dollar. So we just put under 44,500. So I want to just move from here. 217. And this amount, so this amount is the 23,700 account. I think that is classified over time. So during the year, and we have a lot of overtime, and since we have like shorter staff that time, so other staff kind of chip in. So that's, you know, over 14,000. So normally these labor charges, we don't really move on here because these dollar and labor charges is through the position control. So normally we don't want to move here. So I'm going to see, I have some other dollar here I can use for 5,900. I think maybe the travel, because we don't have a lot of travel this year, so I can reduce that amount. Maybe I can reduce $8,000. So the rest is for 6,457. Then I'm going to, I think the equipment area, I don't need that much. I don't think I'm going to purchase that. So I'm going to use this amount. So I'm going to reduce from here, 64.57. So see here, the plus and minus should be equal, 0. And then total available balance minus this adjustment, and after adjusted balance here is stay the same. So later, when you do the budget transfer, you can just use this spreadsheet as a backup to do the budget transfer in journal entries. And then you can sort this information by the budget adjusted amount. So it will go up here too. All right, after this is how you handle your budget transfer. And then you can see this is the dollar amount by your budget balance by account number here. So it's kind of more detailed. For this Argo report, I think it's a little bit better than Banner, because for me, I only have 1360 Oracle. Maybe many of you manage different, you have several Oracles. So if you pull this report, you can see the detailed fund numbers, Oracles, and then you can see, oh, if somebody charged to some department, charged to your Oracle, and then you can see that immediately, and you find the error immediately. However, the Banner Fgi BDST, it won't show because that doesn't really show the detailed information. So that's a little bit harder for you guys to, to find out the error. Even for us, either we, like our accounting specialists, probably won't figure out that until we run the reports. So I think this Argo report is really helpful for everyone to use it. And like here, I have 11,200, and then I do have some, I think 15412 maybe is the TIA or the grant money to cover some expenditure here. So from here, it's very easy. You can see a lot of things here. The next one I want to show you is from the Banner aspect. Let me stop sharing this one.
While you're opening the other app, multiple people have mentioned that they can't access Argos. Do you have a recommendation how to best access it?
Yeah, if they need to access the Argos for the finance general section, just email me and then I can send it to IS. They can grant the access.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. How come I cannot share this one anymore?
It's
Can you
visible
see that?
now. Yes.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about the banner section here. So this is banner 9 finance. And then the budget availability form. And this we call Fgi Bubble here. And normally you put this information, you have to put the year and also the fund number, org number, account number, and also program. So you have to a lot of detailed information to put it in and then to see this screen to get the result. And on this screen, you can see here, this is a raw application, it's not that much details. It's 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 with the adjusted budget here. And then you can see year-to-date activities and also commitments. And the commitments, I think this area is including the journals and other PO or requisitions, the balance here, and plus some is you just enter the requisition, they will be included in there. So this FGI Bubble include information is different from FGI BDST. So include more. If you say you input the RQ and hasn't been approved, still sitting there, and there will be encumbrance, will be the commitments here. And they will have the check mark here, and then you can look at here and to see what document number is there. And so normally, like we don't, like our accounting department, seems we don't really use this screen that much. And FGI BDST, this is the screen that we're using the most. Because this show you the current budget and also expenses and also commitment, and those commitments being posted already. So you look at this chart 1, that's if we put in here chart 1, that's what we always put chart 1, okay? And then fiscal year, you can put 23, whatever year you want to look. And then now here there's include revenue accounts. So if there's a check mark here, then they will show you include a revenue account. So if you just want to look at expenses account, you always have to uncheck that. Otherwise, it's kind of a little bit harder for you to see the balance in the end. So now I'm going to uncheck this and using my OR 1360. And then here, this is the result I have. So I can see I 1360 here, and then this adjusted budget, and the year to date is actual expenses and being posted, and then commitments is the purchase order or requisition that has been actually posted as well, and this available balance. So here you can see this negative amount, and then here's a negative amount, because look, it's a little bit different from we pull from the Argos report, right? Because Argos report, I think there's a one, it's just activity code. I think that's why they combine. It doesn't really show negative here. So that's why I feel using the Argo report is more detailed and easier for you to do prepare the budget transfer. So now I can see here I have a total budget here, and then these year-to-date activities, total expenditures, the commitment, and this is my current balance, budget balance. And because that this screen is not really detailed, and then so we, as our accounting department, our staff always has to run FGI BDSC report to see the budget status and also the actual expenditures. And this is the report that we use to prepare all our financial reports, like our grant reports. We always use this. And when the funding agency needs the backup information, we do need to submit this report to them as well. So now let's start working on how to do the journal entry for the budget transfer and also transfer charge. So we are using, let me see how can I move here. FGA JVCQ, this block, I'm sorry. So FGA JVCQ is the form that we use to enter both budget transfer and also journal entries. And when you enter here, the document number here, it will be populated by the system. So normally when we do that, the document number, we can leave in the field blank, or we can type next and then hit go here. And then Banner will assign the next available journal number. So here, this is the one we FGA JVCQ will put the date, and then they will show the date, document amount, and NSF checking and deferred added document is this tax is it. So transaction date. This transaction date is the day will determine what accounting period is, the document is posted to. So normally this default as the current, like today's date, but for budget transfer, that's okay. But I know a lot of transfer charge, so you move the actual expenses. Many of time you want to kind of backdate it, because sometimes your grants ended, then before the reporting, you found out that, oh, there's enough kind of too much expenditure for that grant, you have to move out, then you have to kind of backdate it. So backdate to the certain date you want, you can do that. And the document total here, the document total is the, you have to add all the entries together, and then you ignore the plus minus sign or debit credit. For example, you want to move $100 from your 4,000 supply account to 5,000 service account. So move 100 and 100, the total will be 200 here. You will put 200, okay? And the next one, the document text here. For the NSF check-in, this one is a default because after we post our proposed budget in September, we will turn this on. So that will always here, so that you don't have to do anything. And this one doesn't really do anything. We don't touch it. So the document text here. So when you do budget transfer or transfer charge, you probably need to write some information there to show why you are doing these, transfers. If this transfer has been approved by the, grant funding agency, something like that, then you can click here, and then they will show you. Let me see. Okay, then you can go to next. They will show you here on the related menu here. You can pull that down and see there's a document text. And then you can stop type in here. You can type in the proper information and to show why you are doing this. And if you are using grant funds, you need to add the justification to show that this transfer is allowable and also approved by the funding agency. And this line, actually this rule is limited to that 50 characters per rule. So if you have a lot of information to write, then you can just click insert here and then to the second line. And after you're done here, there's another, like you can, if you want to print the journal, you can check here, there's a check mark, and later you can print hard copy of the journal. And then after you've done everything, you can just click save at like the actually lower right side of the window, and then close the window at here. You can just close it out. So after you close that out, they will brought back to the journal, the header here. So you can see here this, and they have journal number already here, and then the date, the amount you input, and then you can see here the document text area. There's a check mark in there. So after you access, what we say, you go to next block. You come here, go down the arrow key down here, and next block. And then you will be brought back to this screen, the detail information screen, which means you can input your journal. So you can use the spreadsheet we previously created that and to input in here. So the journal number is already here and the total amount is already here. That's the original you input in the header, actually the first page. And then here you have sequence number, journal type. Okay, let's go to the detail. Okay, so for the sequence number, we just tap through here. You tap through this field and the number will be assigned by the system, okay? And for the journal type here, for the budget transfer, you want to put in budget BDTR, that is for budget transfer. But if you are moving actual expenses, then you put TRAN in here for the journal type. And then the chart is always use 1. This is for our district main chart. And the index, we don't use index, so you can ignore. And the fund, org, account, and program, activity, location code. These you can just use where the spreadsheet we just prepared earlier, and then use that information to input here. And then the amount of the same as the amount as the spreadsheet you want to transfer. And okay, let's go to this. And the amount, just remember, for the budget transfer is always the whole dollar amount. There's no cents, so please, there's no decimal. Just make sure that is dollar amount. And let's see. And here's the debit and credit area. So the debit and credit area for the budget transfer, you use plus and minus. So if you enter plus is to increase the budget, and you enter the negative sign that to decrease the budget. And then for the budget for the transfer charge, which is the real expenditures, then you need to enter D for debit or C for credit. And then for the description area, this area, that is required. And then I believe the maximum is 35 characters. So that's why you cannot write a lot of things here. And then that's why we need to use the document text for more detailed information. And for the bank, if that is the expenditure transfer, which means the transfer charge, you definitely require this field, and normally you use CT for everything. except for Cypress and Fullerton, their bursar account, that would normally that would be only bursars. Staff will do the journals. So for budget transfer, I don't think that required the bank code. Because here when I test it, I don't really use bank code, but I do know a lot of people still put CT. I don't think that's matter, so that's okay. For the budget period, the budget period will always put 01, and this only for the budget transfer. Okay, the transfer charge, we don't really need put anything. And then other fields, I think we can ignore. We don't really need to input anything for that. So if you input the first line is done, and then you need to add another line, you can go on the top here to see, you can insert a line, and they will say sequence number 2. Or normally I do like to use copy. So that would be the copy, the first one. So when you copy it, and then you just tap over, and here will show number 2, and then you tap over and change it to the budget information as needed. And for the description, maybe you don't have to type. So save some typing time for that. So after you do this, you need to make sure your plus or minus must equal, okay, for the budget transfer. And when you do the transfer charge, your debit and credit must, equal for the journal entry. So once if we finish the entry, you can click save, and then you also can pull down the menu here, and then you can access, click the access transaction summary info, which is FGIJSUM, that screen. You can verify your input data if that's correct, okay? So this FGIJSUM screen. So they have the date and also the total amount. And then they show you this is a postable. If sometimes there's error, then you have to correct, make some corrections. And here's the budget transfer. This is journal type, and this is the chart of account 1. And then this is the information you input in the banner. So you can double check your spreadsheet to make sure that your entry is correct, and also the amount. And the amount, this is a plus and minus, must be equal. And see, this total amount is add up this total, so they ignore plus or minus. And also this ending total amount must match here. Okay, if these two amount doesn't match, the journal work cannot be completed. So after you finish this, you can exit this form, click here, and then they will be returned to the FGI JVCQ form, which will be the next. So they return to FGI JVCQ here, and then you can either, if you need to do some changes, for example, you found some errors in your input through the FGI JSUM screen, and then you can click in process, and then go back to change it. But just remember, when you click in process, you want to remember the journal number, because when you go back to the FGA JVCQ screen, you need to enter that journal number. Or if you feel that your journal is perfect, it's completed, everything should be fine, and then you can hit complete here. So you click, once you hit complete, they will send the journal to the approval process. So when the journal, because approval process probably take time, and then sometimes you want to see, okay, I want to see what the detail that I did for the journal. You can go back to FGIJSUM again to pull that journal and to see what you did, And then if the journal is posted, approved by the approvers, then you want to see the journal, you have to go back to FGID or CR form. Okay. Now, I'm kind of just, that's the basic journal entry with transfer charge and the transfer budget transfer. Now I'm kind of give you a recap for that. So for the budget transfer and expenditure transfers, we all use FGA JVCQ screen to enter. And the differences are the journal type. So for the budget transfers, you will use the journal type BDTR. For the expenditure transfers, which is transfer of charge, you will use the journal type TRAN. And the debit and credit field, for budget transfer, you will use plus and minus. A plus is increase your budget, and minus will be decrease your budget. And for transfer charge, the journal entry is using debit and credit, and the debit and credit must be equal. Okay. And then if you want to increase or to add expenses account code, so you must debit the account. So debit expenses account is to increase. And then if you credit or you want to reduce or decrease the expenses account, then you must credit that. And for the revenue portion, is kind of a little bit different. To increase revenue account, you must credit that account. And then to decrease revenue account, you must debit that account. Okay. And then for the description and area, the entry is required. And then if you want more detailed information, you can use the document text area to enter. Bank code, bank code. So all journal entries, especially for expenses and revenue transfers, require the old bank code. You use CT for everything, and except the Cypress and Fullerton Bursar accounts. For Cypress Bursar, they were using CB bank code, and Fullerton use FB bank code. And for the budget period, we only require for the budget transfer, and then we always use 01 for the budget period. That's it, the end. It's question time. Any questions?
I'm going to unmute myself. And there was one question, and from Deb Perkins, she said, do we use our My Gateway login or another login? And her desktop Argos login isn't working.
Because I just use the web. This is the web. I just code. You can just type in argos.noccd.edu. That's why I log in there. So if you have Argo, you probably need Argo problems. You probably need to have IS to help you.
Also, if you go in My Gateway and if you go in employee links,
yeah,
there is like a screenshot of what you need to do to get into the system. I don't know if it's current or not, but as we were just talking and there were some questions, so I went in there. And if you go My Gateway employee, and then on the right hand side under advantage and all that, there is a link called employee links. And if you click on that link, it opens up and it has FERPA and a bunch of other things. And one of them is Argos, and it has screenshots with the instructions on getting into Argos.
Yeah. I think this Argos I'm using is the new one.
Okay.
I think we still have old version too, but we try to use the new one. It's better.
Ivy, I have a question.
Okay.
Cheyenne. I requested access for some different screens on Argos through HR and the district, I believe.
Okay.
But I don't know if that ever worked. Could I email you for different access that I might need for if my IMS approves?
Well, if for HR, if for finance,
Finance,
finance, yeah, you can email me.
like NYRDPB.
NYRDB, I think that is HR, not finance.
Okay, so I'll just reach back out to them because they said that they gave me access, but I don't believe it ever worked. So I'll reach back out to them then.
Okay, so like NHI, DIST or NHI, EDST, those payroll module, although they are finance using a lot, but I think that is payroll, not payroll, I'm sorry, it's HR.
Right, I needed NHIDIST and the NHIEDST too. So yeah.
Yes. Okay, you can reach out to HR.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So if you have a question, just unmute yourself because sometimes I can't see the hand raised. So just unmute yourself and ask.
Yes.
I did have a quick one. In Argos, I started at Cypress here in January. So I'm learning all of our systems still. It takes a while, right? When we first come on board. Is there a default set of screens that will be made available to me, or am I supposed to try and figure out what I need?
I think there's a lot of reports in Argos. Actually, for myself, I don't even use a lot. Like I use Banner a lot, so I only use the few things. So if you really need something, kind of certain report you need, you probably can ask IS to help you to write it. Otherwise, you can kind of explore to whatever we have now, and then to see if what that is helpful for you.
Okay. Is there a manual documentation that lists what reports are kind of out there generally available already in a canned format that we can access?
Actually, I don't really know. I think for Cypress, if you want to talk to your like a business office to see what kind of report they are using, you can reach out to them. They probably can explain to you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And Christina had a question. Is it possible to get permission to do fund-to-fund budget transfers?
Fund to fund, that is for I think fund forward, that's possible, yes. But normally we don't do that. But fund for a certain area, yes, we can do that. But I believe that will be like capital outlay, that area. You can do fund to fund transfer, budget transfer.
And Catalina has, when I submit JV DDTR related to salaries and benefits, I always include the location code I or N.
Yeah, I think that's good because otherwise during the year we have to kind of run the report to add that in, because if there's a missing, so you can do that. Yeah, you can add, please use add the I or N. Yeah.
Any other questions? Just unmute yourself.
Hi, Amita. This is Margie. I just wanted to share, it would be nice if there's a list of available reports because some of us don't know what's out there, what's available. Is there such a list besides us trying to figure out what we need and reaching out to our fiscal officer?
I don't have the answer, sorry. I hope there's a menu that we can do, but I'm not really aware of a lot of information that out there, especially for Argos stuff. Like I don't use Argos that much. So maybe there's a lot of information, the campus, because campus is using different reports than us. So that's why I'm sorry, I just can't answer that question for you.
So what you're saying, Ivy, is that for that list, each person should reach out to their respective campus budget offices?
Yeah, because they are
Is that-
using the reports that they are using. So I don't really know what they are using for different purposes.
Mhm.
So you probably can reach out to them first. Yeah.
I think, can I interject?
Yes. Of course.
I think if you reach out to Phil Lau, because he does Banner and Argos training, he could probably provide maybe not an in-depth manual, but more a description on each of the reports that Argos has to offer, the screens that you can navigate to. I think that might be helpful. I'm not sure. Because he's from the district, so it might not be specific to college, but our location.
Yeah, because
So-
I know.
So Shane, that's not strictly true. There are thousands of reports in Argos. And as Ivy said, none of us really know what's in there.
Mhm.
You really have to find the person who knows, who can give you advice about which reports they use and even which version of the report they use.
Right.
Phil doesn't know anything more than any other user does about it.
Thanks, Jeff. I see
Thank you.
Sharon.
Hi. In conjunction, well, adding to that, once you get into Argos, there are different menus. So you can, select the finance menu, I think is what it is. And then it just drops down a slew of what reports are already created and available. Some may be available to you, some may not, just based on your clearance. But you can always, that's how we find them most of the time, is we just get in there and we just start clicking around and see what kind of detail each report offers. And then we know which one to pull. So that's kind of, it's a slow way to find what you need, but you can find it. And then I did have a question, follow up to Catalina's response earlier when she said that she uses the location code I or N. What would those be for?
I is for the instructional, like an N for non-instructional. That's for the labors.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other question?
Well, not so much a question as an observation.
Mhm.
Seems to me like we would benefit from setting up a district-wide Argos user team or SharePoint site where we can share what we've found in different areas and what the report kind of does, so that we have a list, like a production list of, hey, here is something I found useful, folks. So we can be sharing with each other, because it seems to me if we don't have something like that, we're going to keep going in circles and everybody saying, I don't know what's out there, versus, well, I might not know everything that's out there, but here's what I found that's useful. And this is specific for these kinds of uses. This is for these kinds of uses. So we'll end up with a very small but tight library of what we find functional, valuable for us.
So I'm going to speak for Gabrielle. Currently, we are in the process of migrating the old Argos, which most of you use, through the new Argos, which is what I showed you, to the new Argos, which is report.noccd.edu, which some of the DOMs and some other people are using. And in that process, we are going to be providing trainings to everyone in the district on the new Argos, but also going through each module or group and getting those groups together and recondoing Argos. There is a whole bunch of stuff in there that doesn't belong in there. There's inaccurate reports. There's reports that are now out of date. So what we're hoping to do is to meet with each group and identify the key reports that each group wants to use and clean up all of the folders in Argos. It's going to be a long process, but at that point, we will also provide better descriptions and other things in the new Argos, so it's easier to search for the reports. In new Argos, the search is actually pretty good. You can search for all kinds of things. And if they're documented correctly and all of the correct information is filled out, it's actually pretty easy to find things. But that's a slow process. We're hoping to get that done starting next year.
So Jeff, if it starts next year, how long will you think it will take? That's actually a great news.
Yeah, it depends on the availability of each department. You know,
Okay.
finance has a ton of reports in there. So we need to get together with finance, go through, tidy it up, identify the correct reports, all those kind of things.
Okay.
Do the same for HR, A&R, every department needs to go through. It's really been the wild west for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And then anyone can pretty much build anything wherever they want. And that's led to a proliferation of reports, but also a whole ton of information that's not technically correct. So we need to do some vetting on a lot of these and make sure they're meeting the needs of the people who are using them.
Okay, thank you. There is a question from Janet. She'd like that the equitable support to new Argos. Are there any other software that is a bit more user-friendly out there?
The new Argos, the web version, is pretty user-friendly. The old one's a dog. It should have been retired 10 years ago. But the new one's pretty easy to use. A lot simpler, and it doesn't require a client and all those kind of things. And really, at the end of the day, like Ivy showed, if you want more functionality from it, you just download it as an Excel spreadsheet and do whatever you want with it. It's really not intended to meet everyone's needs for every need. It's more a general purpose data extract tool. For those of you who are more familiar with Tableau, which is prettier, it has a lot more functionality, but also there's a much higher barrier to entry for that. It's harder to learn how to use it.
Okay. Thank you. Just a comment, and as you were mentioning while we are working through all of this, if you want to share, we have a tool within Advantage where you can, people can post something and we can create an Argos discussion area. So if you find something and to help each other, we can create that if everybody feels that will help in the meantime.
I would caution you that if it's because there's no guarantee that the reports you're sharing are even accurate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I would caution you on some of those.
Okay, so
some reports you find have 7 or 8 versions of them. And 7 of those 8 aren't actually accurate. So, and there's no indication of which one is the right one.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Thank you. All right, any other question? It's 1:01 right now, so I want to respect everyone's time. Last minute question? Okay, well, if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll get back to you with the answer. And as I mentioned in the chat, that will send all the information that we shared today via email. So recording will also be available, and Ivy's PowerPoint that she shared with us, along with will point you to the budget manual that's available within the finance and facilities area on our website. And I want to thank Ivy for her time today, and thank you all for attending and your questions and comments. And the holidays are coming up, and so if I don't talk to you before that, happy holidays and enjoy the time, and we'll talk to you soon.